Father, we do thank you for all the ways that you provide for us, monetarily, physically, spiritually, emotionally, in every way that we have need, you have provided. And we thank you for this seed tonight. We thank you for blessing it, multiplying it, and using it for your kingdom's good. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the worship team, who always does an awesome job. We just want to welcome our visitors tonight. If there's any first-time visitors, we have a gift for you. If you could raise your hand, we'll get you one. This Wednesday night, a couple of announcements. This Wednesday evening is the last teaching in the Elisha Project, so you want to be sure to be here for that. And the only other thing I want to mention is a couple of things having to do with the holiday season. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we will not meet here, so we can be with our families. And we have our Christmas dinner is scheduled for December the 9th, so there'll be more details coming about that soon, but you can mark your calendars for that. And I just want to introduce our speaker tonight, Reid Grassick. Reid is, and his wife Victoria are part of the ministry team from Canada and are down. We're so happy to have them and blessed that they're back in the house with us. We love having y'all. So just turn this over to Reid.
Thank you. I'll let you go first.
Just a little interruption here. Not an interruption, a planned thing that we just remembered. I just want to let you know a little bit about Eagle Worldwide. Sunday nights are kind of an Eagle Worldwide night, which the dwelling place is part of a greater body. And Eagle Worldwide Ministries has a headquarters here in Pensacola, as well as in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And we are from the Canada part. And so I just want to let you know that we have been running a campaign called Go for Gold 200. And in the summertime, we got a revelation from the Lord to increase our partner base by 200 people that would be willing to sow $50 a month into Eagle Worldwide Ministries. And this money goes to help fund our outreach center, where we outreach to the streets of Hamilton, the people that can't afford meals and groceries and clothing, et cetera. And we feed about 200 to 250 people a day at the lunchtime, as well as provide clothing and food and programs, empowerment programs to teach them, how to get back on their feet and become, engaged back in society again. When some of our people there from the Outreach Center have gone to our Bible School, Spirit Ministries Training Center, and some of them are now volunteering at the Kingsway Center themselves. So they're giving back to the community. And so the partners with Eagle Worldwide help to go fund that, as well as help to fund our outreach to the church, which is our campground, Eagle Worldwide Retreat and Revival Center, where we minister to the nations all summer long. So there's expenses all year round, regardless of whether we're still there just in the summertime ministering to people. So for $50 a month, you can be a part of the greater vision of Eagle Worldwide and release the glory, salvation, healing, and deliverance into people's lives. Amen. Is Felicia, she's not in the room right now? Okay. So I know that Felicia has come on board and become a partner. And I know that she speaks very highly of Eagle Worldwide, and just the very fact that what has happened in her life since, the ministry came here and is established, and what has happened in this congregation since Eagle Worldwide has come. So I just encourage you to go before the Lord and say, what would you have me? So Katie, I think the brother back there. Do you have a question or? Yes, I remember when you were there. And Becky has sown some time, a lot of time in there as well. So I encourage you, Katie's got some cards, the partnership cards, if you're impressed upon by the Lord to give, then please fill out one of these and get them back to Katie, and she can advise you as to, how that works with follow-up. We do a pre-authorized payment, credit, or e-transfer, okay? So if anybody's interested, just put your hand up, and Katie will get one of these in your hands. We will also have them available here at the church so that if, you don't decide tonight, but in the future, they're here, okay? Reid.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be back here. And for those of you that weren't here this morning, Dr. Russ and Pastor Maeve send their love, their blessings, thinking about you, praying for you. Hopefully they'll be back down in the near distant future, probably in the next couple of weeks. Pastor Maeve for sure. Dr. Russ is dealing with the work of ministry. So he's tied up and he's busy, but things are good. They're happy, and they miss you guys and love you guys, and they send their best. And it's a privilege for Victoria and I to be back in our family's home, because this is home for us here. It's great to have a family down in Pensacola, a family up in Canada. It's great to be able to travel around the world and have family wherever you go. So this is great to be here, and we're excited to be here. And I understand that you guys have been doing a lot of teachings and things about worship in the last 4 or 5 weeks and 6 weeks. And so I want to share tonight a little bit about another form of worship to the Lord, and that's serving the Lord in servanthood. And serving is another form of worship, because you're worshiping the Lord in your service to Him. And I know a lot of people think of serving as being a slave or being driven to have to do something. And I'm here to tell you that serving the Lord is probably one of the greatest things you can ever do in your life. And God gave you free will to choose whether you want to serve Him or whether you want to class it as being a slave. It's up to you how you want to look at it. For me, serving the Lord has probably been the best, most rewarding, most fulfilling thing that I could have ever have done in my life in the last 10 years when I quit my full-time job and became full-time ministry. And I look back at that now, and I had challenges and struggles in the beginning to quit a very good paying job, to live by faith and to serve the Lord. But I look at it today, 10 years later, and think, man, I should have did this 30 years ago. I should have learned to serve the Lord a lot when I was younger, a whole lot of years ago. Because the things that the Lord has done in the last 10 years in our lives, and mine especially, could have never have come without serving Him. If you want to worship the Lord, serve Him and see what He doesn't do in your life. Jesus was first and foremost a servant, bottom line. He was an apostolic leader, He was a prophet, He was a pastor, He was an evangelist, He was all of those. But first and foremost, He came to serve, not to be served. And see, we have a misconstrued conception of serving. We're on the other side of serving. We want to be served. Just the way it is. I would rather come home and have my wife serve me dinner, serve me this, serve me that, than to actually do it. Just the way it is. And it would be. But we're always looking to be served. That's the bottom line. We don't want to serve anybody. We just want to be served. But your greatest reward will come when you start to serve the Lord. Because when you start to serve the Lord, that doesn't just mean serving the Lord in here. and maybe ushering or maybe catching, maybe on the worship team, maybe in the sound with whatever. Now I'm talking about really serving the Lord. And that's when you walk outside these 4 doors and you start to serve the people around you and the people that you work for. Or if you're an employer, your employees. How are you serving God in all these areas? I can tell you as an employee, when I was an employee for 30 years in my trade, and I didn't even have a real conception of serving, but I was doing it back then. I worked hard. I punched in on time. I took my 10-minute break. I was back to work right on time. And I did that for 30 years in my trade. And even though I wasn't serving God in my mind, I was. And he rewarded that hugely by promoting me in the business that I was in the company that I was in, from starting out as an apprentice to having 30 guys in a crew that were under me as my helpers at the end of my trade 30 years later, making huge money. And I didn't really have a conception of that back then. But when I look at it today, knowing what I know now, man, I was serving my boss by really just doing the job that he was paying me for. But you know, in today's society and in our world today, we don't do that, even as Christians. And it's really sad to say that as Christians, we go to work, we punch in the morning, and we take 20 minutes to get to our place of work. Or we get a half-hour lunch, and at the end of that half an hour, we take another 10 minutes to get back to our workstation. Hey, I'm just being real. I'm just being real with you. I know, I've been there, and I see it all the time. So, you know, when you serve the Lord, you think you're pulling the wool over on your boss. He doesn't know what's going on. Guess what? He knows what's going on. He knows. And he knows everything that you do. So you can't cheat or fake or do anything like that. We either believe this or we don't. There's no gray area. There's no pussyfooting around this thing. It's either you believe this or you don't. And if you believe this and you want to model Jesus, start to serve in every area of your life. And I'm not talking about just coming in here and serving. I'm talking about walking out the doors and serving outside these walls. Because people seem to think serving the Lord is from here. I got news for you. This isn't it. This isn't a place that I even want to be. But you see, when I 10 years ago decided to serve the Lord fully and wholly, and I did it faithfully in whatever it was that he called me to do, again, he moves you up the ladder. And if 10 years ago you'd have told me I'd have been standing here doing this, I'd have thought you were crazy. Because this is not comfortable for me. This is not really what I want to be doing. My place is back there in that sound booth or behind the back wall painting the bathroom or fixing something. That's my place. So for me here, this is a little bit scary because this isn't really what I think I'm called to do. I know I'm called to serve the Lord. And when I'm called to serve the Lord, I'll do anything he asks me to do. See, people always want this right here. And I'll tell you what, you can have it. You really can. Because if you think this is what God is looking for from you, you're missing it. You're missing all of it. Because this place here is maybe for 1 out of 100 people to be standing behind here. And I, most of the time, don't feel adequate to be standing here. Because there's a lot more people out there that have more theological knowledge and all that than I have. I never went to Bible school. So I don't have all that background and mindset and things. But what I do know is what God showed me and what God taught me. And serving him is probably one of the biggest things that he's ever taught me how to do. In the Bible, I started to go through this, and probably close to 1,300 times in the Bible, servanthood is mentioned. 1,300 times. That's a lot. Do you think he's trying to get a point across? I do. I really think he's trying to tell you something. Serving is a big deal. It's a huge deal. But then again, we start to look at it and, well, I'm gonna serve Dr. Russ. That's great. But I'm not serving a man. Because that man, even though he's great and the Lord blesses him and the Lord teaches him and does things with him, he's not the one that's my rewarder, my comforter, my all in all. But I'll serve him unto the Lord. And when I do that, God has no choice but to reward me. See, we're always looking to serve somebody. Wrong. I want to serve him. And if that means serving a person through him to get there, I'm in. But that's what it's about. It's not about me getting down on my hands and knees and serving a man. Now, God will place people in your path that you walk with and honor and do things with, like I do with Dr. Russ, and I honor him beyond belief. But he's not my all in all. That's got to come from God. Now, God put him in my path for a reason. He's my pastor. He's my friend. He's everything that I need. He prays for me. He walks with me, guides me, all those things. And I honor that. But I don't serve that. I serve him through God. And we have to get an understanding of that. People get caught up in the pastor. I'm serving this pastor. Are you serving the pastor as unto the Lord, or are you serving that man? Because if you're serving the man, you're in trouble. Because he's going to let you down. I guarantee it. He will never, ever meet your expectations. And you're putting him in a bad place. You're putting him on a pedestal that you should never do. Now, if you serve him unto the Lord, then it's a different story. Because if he makes a mistake, which he will, you're not going to condemn him. The minute you place him up there and he makes a mistake, you're going to condemn him and you're going to leave that church. You're going to move on. You're going to go elsewhere. We got to stop that. We got to stop serving man and serve God through serving the people around you. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge sometimes because you get into that place where you just want to be a part of that person's life and help them and all that, like I do with Dr. Russ. But I have to know that he's not the answer to everything I need. He's an answer to a lot of things that I do need. He can pray for me. He can lay hands on me. He can do a lot of things for me. But he's still not my end all to be all. He's not my rewarder. He's not my comforter. That's got to come from the Lord. And we get caught up in those things. We forget what we're doing. In Ephesians, it talks about serving wholeheartedly. And we don't do that. We only serve to the little bit that we want to do so that people can see it. And somebody will say, hey, thanks, you did something. In Ephesians, it says, serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not man, because you know that the Lord will reward everyone for whatever good he does, whether he is slave or free. See, we're always looking for something when we serve. Just human nature. Nobody wants to serve just for the sake of serving. I do. I'm not looking for anything. I have no hidden agenda. I just want to serve the Lord in whatever capacity that he wants me to serve him in. But most people, nobody in this house, serves for recognition. Being transparent here. Because in a lot of places, people serve so they get the pat on the back. They get that, oh, you did a good job, thanks, you know. If I was looking for that, I wouldn't be here. Because your thanks, your little pat on the back doesn't carry any weight for me. But if I hear my Father say to me, hey, well done, I'm in. Because that's the last thing I want to hear when I come face to face with him is, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, hey, you did a great job helping Dr. Russ washing his car, because that don't cut nothing for him. What cuts it with him is when he says to you, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what I want to be, just good. I just want to serve him in whatever capacity it is. Are you serving one another? If somebody's got a need or they got to have something's going on and they need help, are you there to serve them? Or are you just running the other way? See, service comes in a whole lot of different ways with the Lord. See, in here, if you want to serve this house, man, worship team, camera, sound, projection, cleaning toilets. Hello, there's all nursery. There's all kinds of ways to serve the Lord. Greeters, ushers. But what is your reason for doing it? Are you doing it because somebody's going to see me up here singing? Are you going to do it because I'm standing at the door and I'm the doorman? Or what's your reason for doing it? I'm just asking. I don't know what your reason is. I know my reason, and it definitely isn't for a pat on the back. Because there are some things that I do that I guarantee you, most of you would cringe and not even think about doing. I can guarantee it. And you know the neat thing is, see, when I serve the Lord in the capacity that he's called me to serve in, he's right there with me. And he'll walk alongside me, and he'll show me how to do things, walk with me, talk to me, teach me. But if I'm trying to do something that he didn't call me into, I'm on my own. And I never want to be in that place where I'm on my own. So if you're going to serve in the area that he called you to, because that is where you're going to have your best rewards from him, the most time with him, the more he'll speak to you, the more he'll show you things, is when you're in the place that he wants you to be. And if you think being in the back room with the kiddies or scrubbing that toilet, that he isn't seeing all of those things, trust me when I tell you, he sees everything you do. Everything. And sometimes the one that's in the back that misses the service because they're fixing something or unplugging a toilet or whatever, the greatest reward comes from that. Because you're doing something for the Lord and you're missing out on some worship in here, maybe getting prayed for in here. But you see, God doesn't miss anything. He's always there. I still think, I told this, one of the, and I'm sure somebody's going to get flipped right out over this, but you know the time the Lord spoke to me the most and really got into my head was when I got a phone call or a yell out the window, the septic system's backed up and it ain't working. So I have to go get in that septic tank. And I'm in that septic tank and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this. And all I can think of is, oh, Jesus. And that's what come out of my mouth. Oh, Jesus, what do I do? And there was a thing in my head. And I'm thinking, man, Jesus is right in here with me. And he showed me how to fix that and what to do. And I'm telling you, of all the places to be. Right? Right? So don't tell me God isn't with you. I'll prove you wrong. Because he was right in there that day with me. And it was nasty. But he was there. And he showed me how to fix that and how to move on. So don't tell me when you're going through your little deal and you're having a little bit of an issue that he ain't there. Because he's always there. No matter what. He is always there. Serve him. and see what he doesn't do for you. It's great. The best thing I ever did was said, yes. Yes, I'm in all the way. Whatever it is you want, I'm here. But you got to serve him, like I said, in the place that he's called you to. I can guarantee you right now, Christina would not want me up here singing beside her. I guarantee you she wouldn't be. But if I think that's what God wants me to serve, and I really just want to do that myself because I'm front and center, not good. Christina would have all she could do to not throw me off the stage. But you see, that's what people are looking for. They want to be front and center. They're always looking for some sort of a great deal with the Lord. But they really want recognition from man and not from the Lord. So if you're standing in a place doing something that you want to do and think you're serving the Lord, guess what? You're not. He hasn't even seen you there. Because he'll be looking around going, where's my little Billy? Where's my little Sarah? They're supposed to be here. What are they doing up there? That's not what I've asked them to do. So if you're not in the place that he's called you to be in, don't be looking for him, because you're not going to find him. Because he's where you're supposed to be, not somewhere else. So there's no greater reward than serving the Lord, whether it's on the platform, in the bathroom, plunging toilets, painting walls, scrubbing the parking lot, whatever. There's no greater reward than being where he wants you to be. So get it out of your head that you have to be front and center. Because this isn't really what I want to be doing right now. I'd rather be somewhere else doing something else for him. Because there's a lot of people in this room that could be doing this. But you see, when I stayed in my place and I did what he called me to do and I stayed faithful in it, he started to open up doors and make room for me to do other things. And of course, Dr. Russ gave me it's time for you to go do some of these things. And it's like, I'm really okay back there, but I'll do that. So I'm here doing that because I'm trying to be obedient in what the Lord wants. And sometimes it's a challenge for me to do that. I mean, this is just not really what I want to be doing most of the time. I would rather be serving elsewhere, where most people don't want to serve. I'd rather be behind the scenes, where most people don't want to be. And it's good. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. I don't want to be trying to serve in an area like Pastor Wetzel. Why would I just because he's got a pastor's thing in front of him? I have a heart for pastors. I know what pastors go through. I've seen what they go through. And I'm okay without that on my name. I have enough to deal with the Lord. Me and the Lord got a big enough thing going on. I don't need to have that on top of it. And I don't want to be a pastor if I'm not called to that, because that means I got to deal with the sheep. I'm not so sure I'm ready to deal with the sheep. I bite back. Right? See, pastors, they got to have that heart to do that. I'm not so sure mine is really there yet. You know, if I get bitten, I could bite back. You know? So that's not a good place for me to be right now if that's not what I'm called to be. Right? So you gotta know where you're supposed to serve. Because you can get bitten if you're serving in a place you're not supposed to be. And stop looking for that place up here. Because in God's eyes, there is no here and here or in here. Everything for God is here. So people, you got to stop thinking that, I'm just doing this mediocre task. Wrong answer. There is nothing mediocre to the Lord. Anything you do for him is not mediocre. If you give my prophet a glass of water, you're doing that unto me. If, whatever, right? So you got to remember that you're not serving man in all of this. This is something that comes right from my heart. And it's really, I could spend hours talking about all the different things God has done for me, just from me serving him over the last 10 years. Because this is my heart. My heart is to serve the Lord in any area that he wants. And he makes a way. I'm down here in Florida for 2 to 3 weeks. When I was in the work world, that wouldn't happen. I'd be lucky to get 3 weeks off a year. But see, God's made a way for me to come down here and spend time with my family down here. Right? That only happens when you serve him. You know, I gave everything to him when I left my job. I said, Lord, I'm leaving my job. I have no income. I said, it's up to you. Whatever you want me to do, I'm in. So when I did that, that meant giving up everything. Vehicles, whatever I had came unto him. Because now I don't have the means to go and buy all kinds of new vehicles or whatever the case may be, because I ain't making any money here. There is no paycheck coming in. So when I did that, God has blessed us over the years. I haven't bought a vehicle for myself in probably 8 years, 9 years. I don't even know now. I have no idea. It's been a long time. I don't even remember buying a vehicle. See, he just brings them. So like when I said to him, Lord, this truck is your truck. Whatever happens, happens. And when that one broke down, and that was my truck that I had bought, when it was done and over with, I said, Lord, I need another one. And another one came. When that one broke down and failed, I turned it over to the camp. I said, Lord, the camp's going to get this one. We'll finish it off here, but I need another one. And another one came. And I got another one this past July, just before camp started. I said, Lord, I need another truck. And he goes, okay. And then I got another truck. My mechanic gave me his truck. So you see, when I serve God in whatever he wants me to do, whatever's mine is his. Whatever his is mine. So the minute I open up that way, it opens up a whole new realm to me. Because now I have the right to ask for whatever I need. Father, I need this truck. Well, what do you need a truck for? Well, if you want me to do what you've called me to do, then I need you to give me that truck to be able to go do it. And that truck comes. Right? People say to me, you speak to the Lord that way? Absolutely. I sit down on his lap. He's my father. So when I need something, when your kids come to you, do you think they diddle and daddle around? They come right up to you. Daddy, I want this. Daddy, I want that. Well, that's what I do with my daddy. Daddy, I need. You called me to do this, so now I have a need to do this. You need to help me out here. And he does. He meets me in all those areas. But you have to come to terms with the fact that you got to serve him. And that doesn't mean just what you want. Because if that's the way it was, I wouldn't be doing a whole lot of different things. I guarantee you. When that septic tank blew up, the first thing I would have done is, hey, I'm done. I ain't fixing that. Right? We'll get somebody else in. I'm not doing that. But you see, he knows all that. If you're only going to do what you want to do, he's only going to do what he wants to do. And that closes doors. Closes doors for you. So you see really it's kind of being selfish in a way when you really want to look at it. See, whatever I do for him, and I just do it wholeheartedly and openly and whatever it is he's called for, I know I win. I win. At the end of the day, I win. Because I've got the right to ask him for what I need, what I want, because I'm doing it for him. So it opens the doors for me to do what I need to do. And it brings in the blessings for me as well. So it's, in a way, you can call it being selfish. I don't know. You can look at it whatever way you want. I look at it going, man, this is a great deal. If I serve you, then you serve me. It's a win-win situation. But it means you have to do it. There's no halfway. There's no part way. It's either you're in or you're not. In Colossians, it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for man, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward in the Lord Christ you are serving. So in other words, you got to do it. You can't do it halfway, quarter of the way, 60% of the way, 70% of the way. You got to do it all the way in. See, we're at a time and a season in the Lord right now where there is no gray area. It's black, it's white. There's no on the fence. You're half in, you're half out. You're either in or you're out. There's no gray area anymore. Time is short. When you look around the world and you see all the things that are going on, we're in the end times. We're in the end times. So now is the time to be in all the way. Not halfway, all the way. So when you're going to serve the Lord, serve Him with everything you have. And I'm not saying that you have to be full-time ministry, because you don't. See, full-time ministry is for certain people. If you try to leave your job and do what I do and come into this full-time and you're not called to do it, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're going to lose big time. I spent 1.5 to 2 years waiting for confirmations after confirmations after confirmations, whether to leave my job and become full-time ministry or not. And I heard the Lord call me by name, verbally. First and only time I ever heard Him call me by name. But it still wasn't enough. Because you see, this is it. When I leave my job and I come into this full-time and I have no income, there's only one person I can rely on, and that's Him. So if He isn't the one that's called me, I'm in trouble, serious trouble, because now I got to make a way. No good. Not good at all. If I'm trying to make my way and do my thing and my deal through Him, it's just not going to work. So make sure when you're serving Him where He's called you to serve. Because if you don't, and you try to do it on your own, you're going to be exactly that, on your own. He won't be there. Will He bless you and be around you? Yeah. But you're not in His perfect will. His perfect will for you is to do what He's called you to do. Not what somebody else is doing, not where somebody else is at, but for you. Everybody is different. Not everybody's called to the pulpit. Not everybody's called to be an evangelist in the sense of the word evangelist. We're all to be evangelists when we walk through that door. But in the word evangelist, we're not all called to be that. We're not all called to be a prophet. We're not all called to be an apostolic leader. Not all called to be a pastor. Glory to God. Could you imagine if we were all called to be pastors? Where would we be? We'd be telling each other what to do. And if we were all called to be an evangelist, we'd all be getting saved every day. It just doesn't work that way. That's not what God designed everything to be. We're not all the same. Everybody has a different part to play. Not one part is less important as the other. Right? Dr. Russ, as the head of the ministry, the apostolic overseer, has a job to do. I wouldn't want his job. But I have a job to do as well. Now, can he do my job? If he really buckled down and got into that, yeah. Could I do his job? I doubt it. I'm not in that place yet. Someday, maybe. But you see, everybody has a different part to play. Can he work on cars like I do? Nope. So we all have a different part to play. Can he come into camp and fix all the things that I do? Probably not. But can he get behind the pulpit and preach? Absolutely. Can he prophesy? Absolutely. We all have a different part to play. His isn't any more important than mine. We all work together for the greater good of the Lord. And we have to stop looking at each other and going, oh man, I want to do what he's doing, or I want to do what she's doing. You're not going to get anywhere. If you serve the Lord in the capacity that he's called you to serve in, he will meet you in every area, in every part of it. And it'll be great. I'd like to say walking with the Lord is the greatest thing and the easiest thing in my life. It's not. It's not. Because you get held to a different standard. The greater in I get, the more I get to know him, the more he expects from me. Right? So if you want to be here, let me tell you what comes with this. A lot. Because you see, when I come face to face with the Lord, he's going to say to me, hey, you remember that time you were ministering down in Pensacola? You said some things I didn't agree with them. See, so when I'm standing here, I'm being accountable to him. So I got to make sure that when I'm ministering, it's from here and not here. Because if I'm ministering from here or here, we're all in trouble. So my standard gets held a little bit higher when I'm here than other people do. And people don't think about that. They just look at the glory. Oh, it's going to be glorious. I get to stand behind the pulpit. It's all yours. Oh, I want to be the head of the camp. I want to look after the camp. Man, the glory behind all that. Look at all the things that he gets and all the people that like him and stuff. I give you all the keys to the camp. I give you everything that goes with it. It's all yours. Because it's not as glorious as what you seem to think it is. See, when you're on the outside and you're looking into somebody's place of service, it looks great. It looks great till you get there. So be careful what you're looking at and what you're wanting to do, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Right? See, I can sit and look at Dr. Russ and go, oh man, he gets to go out and entertain all the guest speakers when they come to town. They get to do this and they get to do that. Yeah. And then the next day I'm with him and we're going through it, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, man, am I ever glad I don't have to be making the decisions that he's making right now, right? So I'm glad that I'm not in that place. I'm glad that our home church, I'm not the pastors in our home church. I'm an elder there, but at the end of the day, they're responsible, not me, right? When that sheep comes up and is nipping at their heels, I can step back and say, yo, that's your sheep. I'm here to help, but you're the pastor here, right? Because I know what they got to do and how they got to deal with it. They got to love on them. They got to correct, but they got to love on them. I'm not probably that good at loving on them after I'm correcting them, you know? I like fivefold ministry sometimes, right? See, so you want to make sure that you're in the place that you're supposed to be in. I'm just being real with you. That's just real. This is what the Lord is, this is where we're at. Stop trying to be something that you're not supposed to be. It's just plain and simple. Plain and simple. Serve the Lord where he wants you to be. And it'll all be great. You'll have problems. I have problems all the time. But when I have that problem, man, he's the first person there to help me out of it. See, he doesn't leave you nor forsake you, and he will never give you anything you can't handle. But now if I decide I want to be a pastor, and he didn't call me to be a pastor, he's not going to give me everything that I need. He's going to let me to hang out there to dry. He's going to leave me there until I finally get it. And Lord, I'm sorry. I'm in a place I'm not supposed to be. Put me where I'm supposed to be. Humble yourself. That's the biggest thing here. Being humble. I mean, there's a few things that we've seen in the last little while that are just some really good quotes. One of them that I saw that I just love. If you're serving to be, yeah. I'll let that one go for now. That one could get a little bit rowdy. This one is really good. If serving is below you, then leadership is beyond you. It's beyond you. If you're too big for little things, then little things are too big for you. I could go on. But I guess really the bottom line is, when you're serving the Lord, it's probably one of the greatest places you'll ever be. It's just amazing. I wish I'd have done this 30 years ago. But you see, God has a time and a place for everything. And if you try to do it in your time, you're going to miss out on the greatest thing that He has for you. Just go with it. Don't try to make it happen. Don't try to get there the fast way, because that's the way our society is. Fast food, fast cars, fast this, fast that. Everything's fast. See, with God, it's not. Just go with Him. It's His timing, not yours. If you try to do it in your own timing, you're going to miss out on the greatest times with Him that you'll ever have. Don't force it. Wait on it. Let it come. Walk with Him. Talk with Him every day. And keep your heart right. Because see, your attitude will determine your altitude. Keep your attitude right. If somebody gets promoted to a position that you thought you should be, don't get upset about it. Just love on that person. Continue doing what you're doing, because God's probably got something better for you. Don't try to be somebody you're not. It's just not going to work for you. It's just not. I can't make it any plainer than that. If I was trying to be Christina on the worship team, we'd all be in trouble. We just would be. If I'm going to try to play the drums like Josh plays the drums, we're all in trouble. See, God gave us all different abilities and different talents, and He did that for a reason. So stop trying to do something you're not called to do. And at the end of the day, it'll be great. God is so awesome to serve. It's amazing. And it just opens up. The more you serve, the better it gets. The deeper it gets. The best part about it is the relationship between you and the Lord when you serve Him. Because when you serve Him, you have to dialogue with Him. It's like when you work with somebody. You can't work with somebody all day long and not talk to them. It just doesn't work that way. At least it didn't in my trade. I had to talk to the guys that I was working with every day in order for them to get done what needed to get done, do what they had to do, whatever. Well, it's no different than you and the Lord. When you step in to do what He's called you to do, it just opens up that door for a greater relationship with Him, because now you got to talk to Him, because you're in His place where He wants you to be. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is by talking to Him. So the more you talk to Him, the greater it gets. The deeper the relationship, the better it is. Try it. If you're not serving the Lord, and I'm not just talking about in here, because not everybody's called to be full-time ministry. Not everybody's called to be in the church full-time. The marketplace is that's where Jesus did most of his work, was in the marketplace. And he served everywhere he went in the marketplace. So you employers that are employing people, how do you treat them? How do you serve them? I realize, and you got to pay them and all those kind of things, but do you treat them with respect? Do you treat them good? Do you treat them kindly? And you employees, are you trying to rip off your employer? If you're getting paid for 8 hours, do you do 8 hours of work a day? Or do you do 6.5 and try to sneak an hour out? I'm just being real. Been there, done that, seen it all. And that's what happens. And as a Christian, shame on you if that's what you're doing. Because God's seeing everything that you do. Everything that you do. So be truthful and faithful to the Lord. Forget your boss that's paying you. Do that work that you're being paid to do to begin with, but do it under the Lord. Forget that you have a boss. You got a big boss up here that sees everything that you do. And work hard. Our 2 sons are blessed beyond belief. And I'm not bragging because they're my sons. But what I'm bragging on is what the Lord is doing in their lives. Because they understand the essence of working unto the Lord. Our youngest guy left a job that he had with his brother a little over a year ago, and went to another company. And his hard work unto the Lord has given him over $8 an hour in wages, more, in the last year. Company vehicle. It's just amazing what's happening. But he understands working for the Lord. If I work for the Lord, forget I have a boss, and just do this unto the Lord, the Lord will open doors beyond belief. He's driving a company truck. He's making $30 an hour. He started at 22. The doors just keep opening. The boss loves him. The boss just thinks he's the greatest thing going. But it's because he decided years ago when I worked with them, the hard work and working under the Lord pays off. People say to me, hard work. Yeah, hard work. Hard work. If you think ministry is not hard work, I got news for you. I remember when I left my job and the guy said to me, you're going to be semi-retired. I said, really? I put more hours in a week now than I did when I was working. Way more hours. But the rewards are so much better. The pay is so much better. The blessings are so much better. But it boils down to serving him and working for him. That's it at the end of the day. You got to work. And I know people think that that's a dirty word. And in today's society, most of our young people think work is a dirty word. They would rather spend more time trying not to work than if they just would have went ahead and worked. It's just the way it is. We see it all the time. But the bottom line with all of it is, serve him, see what he'll do in your life, and I can guarantee you, he's not a respecter of persons. So what he's done for us, he'll do for all of you, if he isn't already doing it. I'm sure Mama Hugs can tell you stories of all the things that God's done in her life, but that's because she served him for years. For years. Step out. Take that step of faith. See what God will do for you. By serving him every day, wherever he's called you to be, in the marketplace, in the church, wherever. If you're out somewhere and somebody looks like they're hurting and could use a prayer, pray for them. Pray for them. Don't be afraid. Pray for them. Man, when I finally got it and started to really press into the Lord, I was down at the garage one day. I had a bunch of vehicles down there for the ministry. The 2 guys that own the business are Christian. and none of the guys in the shop are. It's awesome. It's awesome. So when I go down there, I get to show the love of God to these guys that have never seen it before. But the one owner blew out his knee playing hockey, and he was limping around the shop. And I went in that one morning, and man, without even thinking, I walked up to him and I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I hurt my knee." I said, "Hang on, let me pray." And I got down on my hands and knees, wrapped my hands around his knees in the middle of the shop. And these 5 guys, you could have heard a pin drop. They stopped dead with everything they were doing, and they listened to me praying for their boss. And I'll tell you, I've seen so much change in their lives, all because I stepped out and did what he said to do. Pray for that guy. So I've got 5 other guys watching all that, and we've been working on them over the years, and they're going to get saved. At some point in time, it's not a matter of are they going to get saved? It's a matter of when it's going to happen. But step out and just do what he's called you to do. I don't care where you're at. Doesn't matter anymore. See, he's called you to do it, so just do it. And he's right there with you. And nobody will judge you or criticize you or whatever. Who cares? You're doing unto the Lord what he's called you to do where you're at. Pray for people. One of the biggest ones I ever, Dr. Russ, whenever I go anywhere with him, he is prophesying over people right, left, and center, no matter where we are. We're in the middle of the airport, and there's hundreds of people around. I got to go talk to this lady. And he'll go over, and he'll read her mail and prophesy over her and walk away like nothing ever happened. It's incredible. But you see, that's just serving the Lord under the Lord where he wants you to be, whatever he wants you to do. Not everybody's good with that, but you can pray for people when they're hurting. You can pray for them wherever you're at, wherever you go, no matter what. And just love on people, because that's what he's called you to do. Just love on people. Hold up your brothers and sisters' arms. When they're in need, help them. Don't look to get asked. Just do it. Be a Nike Christian. Just do it. 365 days of the year. Just do it. Just do it. Stop waiting for somebody to ask. And we have this issue with our son at home. He won't do stuff till you ask him. The minute you ask him, he just jumps up and does it. Like, I'm trying to get him past that point. When you see something that needs to be done, just do it. Just get up and do it. Stop looking for somebody to come up to you and say, "Oh, honey, can you please go and do that dirty job over there?" Just go and do it. Because it doesn't matter if anybody sees you. God sees you. And if you're not being asked, he knows you're doing it because you want to do it. You're not doing it because somebody asked you to do it. You're doing it for the right reasons. Just do it. I'm going to stop there before I get carried away and just keep going. But I'm going to challenge you all tonight to do something that you haven't done before when it comes to serving the Lord. When he's asked you to do something, don't make excuses up. Try not to get out of it. Just go ahead and do it. I'm going to challenge you with that because I know God's challenging all of you to do something. He didn't bring you here for no reason. It's Sunday night. I mean, you could be watching the ball game on TV or doing something at home, right? But you're here for a reason. And I believe you're here for the reason because you love the Lord and you want to serve him, right? So serve him. When you go out that door now, serve him. Wherever you go, whatever you do, just serve him. Forget about your bosses and your whatever. Just do whatever you're supposed to be doing for him and see what he'll do for you. I guarantee you, you'll be blessed beyond a shadow of a doubt. We just continually get blessed. But it comes, see, in order to be blessed by him, you got to do something. See, it all boils down to you again, right? You all have a part to play in your own life. If you want to be blessed, and you want to do things, you got to do them. You first have to do something. God will bless people just because he wants to, but in the most cases, he'll bless you when you do something. If you're looking for something, you got to take the first step forward, and then he'll take a step forward to meet you in that place. But you have a part to play in all of this. You have a choice. Either you're going to do it or you're not. I'm going to serve the Lord or I'm not going to serve the Lord. It's up to you. You do with it what you want. But for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord in everything that we do. Everything that we do. So, Father, I just thank you for tonight. Lord, I thank you for everything that you're doing. Lord, and whatever we can do to serve you in a greater and a deeper way, to bring people to you. Lord, just speak to us, talk to us. Lead us and guide us into the areas where you want us to be. And Lord, if we're trying to step into something that you don't want us in, close that door. And Lord, open the doors where you want us to be. Father, we just thank you for who you are and what you're doing in our lives, what you're doing in this house. So Lord, we just thank you. We honor you. We love you. And we say, have your way in our lives. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. If anybody needs prayer, anybody's believing for something and want us to believe with you for it, please come forward. We'd be happy to pray with you, believe with you for whatever your needs are, whatever you're believing for. Other than that, you have a great night. Have a great week at work this week. Serve the Lord this week in whatever you do.